Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2019 show. I'm your host, Don Kay. We are live from McGillivray Speedway at 30th and High School in the fine town of Speedway, Indiana. Tonight's show is presented, as always, by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, NTT IndyCar Series, and the SVRA. Couple things to mention. If you are one of my favorites and have trouble with your computer, which I do frequently, Computer Overdrive can handle it for you. They're at the corner of Lyndhurst and Crawfordsville Road. They can fix most anything. Call them up. They're home of the free checkup. So call them up, tell them your problem, take it in. They'll take care of it. Number is 317-328-0766. And as always, I remind you, and several people have been there lately and said, wow. In fact, my IT guy went up to see Dr. Jack at the Indy Dental Group and said it was phenomenal. So if you need a dentist or you have a problem, that's the place to go. Number is 317-846-6125. Get an appointment. You'll love it. And if you are an animal lover, the Speedway Animal Rescue could use some help. They rescue dogs here in town, or from around town, I guess, and they get them all set up so you can get it with the chip and the surgery and all the stuff that goes on with it. If you're interested in helping them, they need the help, you can go to speedwayanimalrescue.org or speedwayanimalrescue@gmail.com. See if you can help them out. If you're an animal lover, they could use a hand. And don't forget, on the 16th of November, Beepline will be here. You're never on hold with Beepline. And the Christmas Gift and Hobby Show is about to come to town. It's 5 days from November the 6th through Sunday the 10th. And they're open Wednesday and Thursday from 10 to 8, and Friday and Saturday 10 to 9, and Sunday from 10 to 5. You'll get to see the elves at work. You can get pictures with Santa Claus, and they got about 300 vendors. So it's a great event. It just so happens I have a few tickets with me tonight. Anybody interested in going, come up and see me after the program. I have a few tickets available. And the last event of the year for the SVRA is this weekend, the 24th to the 22nd, the 2019 Savannah Speed Classic in Hutchinson Island, Georgia. So if you're anywhere down south, you're listening to us, get out there. It's a great show. You'll enjoy yourself. My first guest is a young man that I've been chasing for quite some time. He doesn't spend a lot of time at home, which is probably a good thing. He got somebody to cut the grass for him. He comes home to get his laundry done, and off he goes again. But he's being very successful. He has a young man driving for him in the USF 2000 they joined last year, or this year actually was the first year, and they've got a couple wins under their belt and doing very, very well. And it's called, cleverly, J. Howard Driving Development. He's doing a hell of a job. Please welcome Mr. J. Howard. What's it like being the teacher? You were a driver, you've won championships, you've won races, you've won series, but now you're a teacher. You bring all your experience from your various cars to help these kids, because you've done it. Your drivers are doing well.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I would say I'm definitely more nervous for the boys than I am when I'm driving. Yeah, I think really when I started doing this, I started helping some drivers and trying to place them with different teams, and just really felt like it literally, I hate the term arrive and drive, and a lot of people use that term within the industry, and you literally arrive, you drive a race car, and then you leave. And I was like, no, you really need so much more than that to be, successful as a driver and continue to move up the ladder and have all the people, the tools, the education, everything. The moment they walk in the door, we start working on, the fitness, the diets, what they should be doing at home, simulators, educating them about, the springs, the dampers. I mean, really, really educate them and try and teach them to constantly better themselves. And, for me, I looked at it and said, I guess I've been fortunate and unfortunate to be a part of some really good race teams and some
Yes, you
good
could say it.
ones,
Yeah, you're right there.
So really just trying to draw from my experience and say, look, these are the things I did good. These are the things I did really bad. Here's where I let my heart maybe make a decision over my brain. Really want to do this. I know it's not going to be good for me, but I really want to do it. Trying to avoid those situations and really just educate the kids, have fun with them, and it's been good. It's been, like I say, it's been successful and winning races, and
you're on the road a lot.
Yeah, and that keeps my relationship fresh with a wife.
Yeah. I
think she's really happy when I leave. She's like, yes, he's gone again.
The thing that catches my attention is you teach these kids about the parts and pieces, what makes the car go. I've heard more drivers, it's amazing. They say, what's the car doing? I don't know. What do you need? I don't know. Well, if you don't understand the car, you don't know what you might need. You mean, your springs.
I mean, we have a term, I can't say it on the radio, but basically what comes out of your mouth will dictate what sort of car you drive, and especially at the lower level. So, we like to think we're quite good at what we do, but we're not geniuses. So we can get the car very close, but to get that last little bit, we really need the driver to be telling us what they need, because there's only so much we can see in the data. So really teaching them, and Rasmussen in particular is a really good example of someone that, the moment he just started driving with us 2 years ago in F4, we knew he had raw talent, was super, super quick, but it was win, crash, win, crash, win, crash. Like that was his kind of trend. So we're really working on trying to, first of all, stop him from crashing, but really teaching him. He just got in and he just relied on his raw talent, and that was it. And so it's been a long process. It took about 1.5 years, and it really started clicking. Toronto was the first race that we see a big difference, and his mindset was different. He turned up, he was all business. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, what he needed from the car, and silly things like I spend a lot of time doing these pre-race notes and videos, send all this stuff to the boys, and then if we're 2-3 sessions into a weekend and they're not doing what we ask of them, then it's kind of like, hey, we can only help you so much, and that comes back the other way as well. So, like I say, it's a team effort, and
How many guys have you got on your crews full time? Because you work, it seems to me, full time, because you're gone all year long. I mean, not the whole year, but you're gone on the road a lot.
Yeah, we got about 4 or 5 guys that are full time, and then a lot of flying guys for the weekend.
Aside from the USF 2000, how many drivers do you have currently? I mean, I know you have more than just the USF 2000 car.
Yeah, we're kind of in that transition right now of signing new drivers, because it's that time of year. But right now we have 12 drivers.
Jeez. And when I pulled in the parking lot for the Chris Griffith test, I pulled in, and the car or the transport that stuck out was yours. I mean, it was sticking out so I could see it, and it's nice. You've got it, really nicely done. Your equipment looks good. Your guys, when I was there talking with you, they were working on the car and getting things. I mean, it wasn't any argument or any nonsense. They were. It appeared to me, standing there watching, they knew what the hell they were doing.
Yep, I am, certainly only as good as the people I've got around me, and I've been really fortunate to, have some good guys. And funny enough, talk about driver development, kind of mechanic development as well. We got a young guy. We've got the youngest crew chief in this entire road to Indy ladder. I think he just turned 23 last week, but he's been with me since he was 18, and we ride him hard, but he's learning quick, and he's just so passionate about it, and it's been really fun to watch him progress as well. So, like I say, we're super fortunate to have the people we got.
Do you have the cars in your shop to move up to Pro 2000?
Yeah, we got one in there right now. We're actually going to get an Indy Lights car here in a couple of weeks.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk about what to do, what the right path is, in terms of, for me, for someone like Rasmussen, he stays in USF 2000 for a second year. He's just going to continue to get better. We'll continue to teach him all the technical side of things, and he'll just continue to develop and also build a lot of confidence, because he'll be the guy to beat. Certainly not counting our chickens before they hatch or anything like that, but we hope we can just build on what he's been doing this year, more confidence, and then maybe just go straight to Indy Lights. That's kind of a goal.
Well, it's my understanding that Indy Lights car is good for one more year, I think.
Yeah, I think
and IndyCar is too, for that matter.
I think we got a couple more years on the Lights car. Yeah.
Do you have other series that you participate in besides the 2000?
F4.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so it's like a level below USF.
Yeah, so you're on the road most of the time, because they don't always run at the same time.
Yep, definitely don't race at the same time. No.
Now, you and I were talking. You have a shop here in town.
Yes, Westfield.
And I said, I've been watching, keeping track, and seeing what you're doing. I said, you win race a number of series, you got to have a lot of trophies. They said, we just give them to the kids and send them. Mm-hmm. I said, that's kind of silly. You need a trophy case. They said, yeah, we thought about that.
Yeah.
When somebody walks in and go, wow, look what they've done. So now you're going to call these guys up. You know that trophy I gave you? Bring it back.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen, will it?
No, we just have to spend more money and buy replicas.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
In your career, you won championships before you came to America. You accounted well for yourself. You won a number of races. You won championships here. Then you moved to IndyCar. Mm-hmm. And in my humble opinion, and it's only my thought, but I have a feeling you may not disagree with me, that maybe the first ride you took wasn't the best one for you. Because I got to think, and I heard on occasion somebody say, "What's the matter? He's better. He's faster than that." So it's it seems to me you got to be careful where you go, and for these kids to come in with somebody like yourself who's going to give them what they need to win. I mean, you can't win on used parts. I think you found that out.
Yeah.
Not real well. In fact, you don't compete real well with it. So that that's one of the things that I'm sure that you have looked at and said, this is what happened to me. It's not going to happen to my kids.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, obviously we focus hard on the driver and getting them to do the things we need them to do to get better and keep progressing. But I tell my guys, I don't care. I don't want any excuses. I need to know when that car goes out, it's capable of winning. And if not, then it don't go on track. It's pretty simple.
How did things go for the Chris Griffiths test? I know you were one of the faster cars.
Yeah, it was good. Actually, a Rasmussen kid swept the entire weekend. He was fastest every session. And, I dropped him off at the airport Monday morning, and he was a happy boy.
Does he live here in town, or does he live over in his home country?
No, he lives in Denmark, yeah. I think he's just starting the process to get his sportsman's visa, because going back and forth's okay, but he needs to stay here. It's expensive.
It's a long ride.
Yeah.
Even in an airplane.
Yeah.
What is it that you, if somebody offered you a ride in an Indy car, could you do it? Would you do it? If it was a good
Not
ride?
Full time. Not now,
right,
not full time, but 500, yeah.
Have you got any talking going on about that possibility?
There's always talk in this sport. If I had a penny for every time, but there is conversation. I would say, I love nothing more than IMS. I just love a place. I love being there. Love everything about the Indy 500. But all my life I've been super competitive, anything to win, and kind of applying that to my race team now. And, last couple of 500s I've had, it's tough come race day. Any day throughout testing, you can constantly tweak on the car. And we always have those feel-good days, and you look up at the pylon and you go, oh, you know, another day inside the top 7, or, oh, we're fastest, oh, we're P3, or P7, P8, P10. It's like you have this kind of false sense of success during the week of testing, and come race day, you've had a week off, someone turns the heat on and the sunshine comes out and it's 1,000,000 degrees and the car just changes drastically, and it's just tough. Yeah, there's a reason why Penske, Andretti, a couple of these guys are just really good every year. And so I don't know, you know, if someone said to me, there's a race car for the 500, you can drive, or you can help Rasmussen drive, what do you want to do? I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards helping that young kid go out there. And
really?
I can sit back and, you know, maybe even crack a beer open while I'm watching, and you go, boy. Have some fun on the stand for once.
When you brought your mechanics on board, was it clear to them that your ultimate goal is to be an IndyCar? You're going to work somebody up and, you know, work them through this ladder system and get to the 500,
Yeah.
get to IndyCar?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you find it hard to get sponsorship for your guys, or do your drivers generally bring
Hard
their
to
own?
find sponsorship. Very.
But you're doing well, so you've been
we got some
successful.
sponsors. Yeah, we've been really lucky, and some of the guys that have been helping me since, I mean, Lucas Oil, just an example. When I came here in 2006 with Sam, they've been helping me every year ever since. So it's been good, but yeah, I got to admit, it's a little daunting when you start looking at the numbers for IndyCar, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened.
You know, but the thing that always occurred to me, and I've said this to a number of drivers and teams, and the younger ones, you know, and the open wheel short trackers and stuff, you want to get to the speed, yes. Then teams, me, a sponsor, and I've talked to sponsors about it. Get on with a kid when it's cheap, and grow with him. As he grows and he develops and he becomes somebody you want to represent you, then you climb up with him, and it's not costing you that much because you're getting results before you get there. And I've had guys say, oh, I can't do that. I said, well, you can if you don't try, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice once you get that person. Let me know. We'll hook them up.
Well, yeah, okay. I think maybe John could make a comeback. John Martin might make a comeback.
Yeah.
He's
There
got
you go.
money. He's got a lot of money. What the hell?
That's it.
Yeah, he just had his 47th wedding anniversary. I'm sure Lynda'd say, sure, get in the car, John. Aside from winning the 500, is there anything that you wish your career would have covered? I mean, when you started out in Europe, were you looking at Formula One?
I mean, as a kid, like when you're really little, you kind of look at Formula 1 and go, oh, that would be fun one day, but no matter whether it's IndyCar or anything, you know, as a kid, the passion you have, all you want to do is just race cars. You just want to be a professional. So once I really made that, you know, transition from karting to cars, you know, IndyCar was on my radar immediately. Really? And yeah, I wanted to come here. So yeah, that's nothing there changed. Yeah, I look back and I wish that maybe I hadn't hit IndyCar right in the recession in 2008. I think things would have been a little bit different there. Yeah, obviously wished I'd maybe had an opportunity to drive with certain teams, but there's nothing I really regret, so to speak, you know.
Do you have any kids yet?
Do I have any kids? Yeah, I got a boy. He's 3.5.
Well, that's the right size. You get a small helmet.
Yeah, he's already got one.
That's what I thought.
I'm screwed.
Instead of buying a set of golf clubs that are little short things, he's got a helmet.
I've tried. You should see the soccer balls, footballs, NFL, you know, the helmets, baseball bats. I've got them all down there. We should play with this. Race cars. All right, race cars it is.
So what does his mother think of that?
I told her she ain't retiring. She's got to pay the tires.
Would you encourage him to become a driver? Would you like for him to follow in your footsteps and get into racing?
No. to be honest, whatever he wants to do. You know, I think, yeah, before he was born, I was like, there ain't no way I'm steering him clear of racing. It's just not happening. And then he's born, and, you know, I'm holding him like this, and I'm going, oh, I wonder what colour helmet he'll want, you know. And then it goes back to thinking about the money, and I go, there ain't no way. And so, you know, to be honest, it doesn't matter what he asks me. I'm so soft with him. I'm pathetic, to be honest. He says he wants to do something, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever you want to do. So if he wants a race, I guess I'll be skint for the rest of my life. And if he don't want to do racing, then, you know.
He can be a team manager.
Yeah, there you go.
Teach him what was the most difficult thing for you when you got into your own business and became the J. Howard Driver Development? You know, what did you have to learn you didn't know? The business side, you know, the personnel side, whatever.
Oh, it's the employees. That's the toughest part. You know, just trying to get everyone to get along, and you know, well, that's my job. Well, okay, yeah, well, he's been doing that, and you know, just really getting everyone to just get along. That's really the toughest part, and finding people that when they come into my organization, it's like, this is how we do it. I'm open to any suggestions from anyone. You know, I'm not saying this is the only way. This is what's working for us right now. Give me a suggestion. If I think it's better, we'll gladly change our policy. But if not, I would like it if you do it our way. And yeah, some people just, well, I've done it this way and I've done it this way, and so that's how I'm going to continue to do it. And to be honest, they don't last very long. We let them go and move on to the next one.
I worked for a team. Now, my job never changed. I swept the floors and picked up the tools when they were what guys would go to lunch. I put all the tools back, get off the floor and all that. But the team owner believed in having each mechanic work on a section of the car. So if something happened to somebody, they know what they're doing. Yeah. They can take over the suspension in the right front or whatever it would be. I always thought that was pretty clever. But again, my job never changed. I wasn't as slick. I did get to push the car out to pit area, though. That was pretty good. I never slipped or fell down or anything, so I did pretty good at that one. But so I was not a mechanic. And I worked for a driver, and I'd come down here in May, and we'd be in the garage with him, and I didn't know that. I knew tools, because I was an electrician. I knew what the tools were. And we'd work until 9, 10 o'clock, go get something to eat, go to bed. I had a motor home at about 4:30 in the morning. What do you want? It's time to go. And we'd set the car up, and he'd do all the work on it. I'd hand him the tools, and it's when they used to set the car up with string in to measure and get the, oh, jeez. It was amazing. When I got done with that, I still didn't know anything about how to set the car up. So a broom fit my hand really well. And I had a lot of fun with it. We traveled around, had a good time, and I enjoyed it. But the hardest thing I would think would be to get guys that have been a lot of time at doing something this way on this section of the car, and they say, this is what we want to do. And well, yeah, it doesn't take you long to figure out it. Their plan doesn't work so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there a lot of mechanics available? I mean, do you need two guys right now? Are there guys available?
Not really. I mean, you know, again, Ganassis, Andretti's, or Schmidt's, you know, the IndyCar teams snap up what they believe are the best guys, and then, you know, you kind of work your way down, and that's why we started to really work. You know, we work closely with IUPUI and have some kids out of, you know, the college every year. Yeah, and we try out a few guys, and some of them stay on longer than others. Some go, this is a lot harder work than what I initially thought I was signing up for. But it also helps them as kids really define what they want to do. You know, some of them start working on the cars, long hours. You know, it's not easy. It's a really long day. So yeah, no, it's, you know, there's not just guys floating around waiting for jobs, to be honest.
Do you ever get any from Danny White at Purdue and out of his program? No, well,
No.
I have to talk to him about that.
Yeah,
He's got
send
a
them
hell
our
of a
way.
program. He's got
Yeah.
a really good program. Gets his kids in a lot of internships with race teams. What do they think? That, of course, not in your series necessarily, but here these kids are working on a car and the driver's out playing golf. That's what you used to do when you drove any car, didn't you? You were out playing golf?
Spraying balls.
Oh.
I was a promotional golfer, as I like to say. Just spraying the logoed golf balls everywhere and leave them behind. I mean, I spent most of my time in the gym. You know, I was completely naive back then, thought that all you got to do is train and be strong and fit and ready for a race car. And I quickly realized this wasn't quite all that. There was a little more to it, a little more business.
You know, it's amazing, and there's a couple of guys sitting right here that were around when I was around, and if they'd have said to John Martin, hey, you got to go to the gym and work out, I have a feeling he'd have two words for you, and it wouldn't be happy birthday. I mean, there was no such thing. They'd leave the speedway in the afternoon when everything shut down, the crews, they'd go over to the White Way, and that was drivers that I left there at 10 o'clock, and they couldn't hit their butt with 2 stabs. And how in the world they could drive the car the next day is beyond me. But that's what they used to do. Didn't they, John? Didn't they? Oh, you didn't. Yeah, that's right. You were at church. I forgot about that. But, you know, everything's changed. You can't anymore get a contract to drive an Indy car, and they say, well, I want to run a midget race. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Can't do that. It's not that way anymore. Where do most of your drivers come from? Do you pick them up early, or they work their way up and then you catch them?
In terms of like what town they're from, you mean?
No. What series they are that they start with? Where do you pick them up? Out of what series?
Mainly out of karting. That's mainly where we get them from. But yeah, one of our guys literally just picked up the phone. I don't even know how he found us. But he called me and said, hey, I want to start racing. Okay. Do you have any karting history? No. Any car racing? No. Anything? No. I've done nothing. I just want to go race cars. I said, okay, sure. We'll give it a try. And so he went and he did pretty good. And he's just got better and better. And he's doing a really, really good job. I mean, never in a million years would I think he would be able to compete at USF 2000 level, 1 year from, ever stepping into a race car, and the kid's doing good. I think at this IMS test, one of the sessions, he was like P6, and just, incredible job. Just pretty impressive, but that's pretty rare. That's not, like I say, most of them come from karting some way or another.
Now, you started out doing a lot of karting work. Do you still have karting teams, or have you moved up from that?
No, we haven't really done anything with the karting for about a year. I've got this issue with buying up like old karts. I found the kart that I raced back in like 1998. It was in England, and I see it and I said, I think that might be mine. Yeah, it is, blah, blah, blah. I'll buy it. So then I got on this like run of buying all these old karts. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did it, and I've got these karts sat there in the shop, and they bring back good memories, but I don't drive them. So maybe one day here when things quieten down, I'll be able to go have a little hack around in those.
I've heard there's a 3-year-old who's coming along that, they might just fit.
Yeah, I actually got some karts on a rack that I had from 2 years ago, and someone wanted to buy them, and I said, well, I should probably keep them because it's going to cost me a lot more money to buy them back again. So, yeah, there's some karts sat there waiting on them. Hopefully they never get used. Hopefully I can just burn them and just enjoy burning them because... I'm just kidding.
Now, as you will attest to, I have contacted you often on, semi-frequently. You spend a lot of time in New Orleans. Do you test at that track a lot? And is it still going? It's not underwater or anything right now.
I haven't done anything with New Orleans for a little bit now. We went down there about a year ago. The track's a little bumpy,
What a surprise.
so that's a little tough. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we go down there this winter. We typically go there like once over winter to do some testing, just try and get some decent weather.
Do you ever go to Dan Anderson's place and run there?
No, it's really small.
Oh,
Really
okay.
small, yeah. But Palm Beach, Homestead, Sebring, New Orleans, that's kind of like the 4 tracks that we visit.
So you take them to New Orleans and get them used to being on a bumpy track, so when they hit one, they go, oh, I've been there.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have your drivers go to the gym? You
Yep.
require that they do that on a
Yep,
daily or
take 'em.
semi-daily basis or something?
Yeah, I take them to the gym and we do like analysis, weightlifting side of stuff, cardio. We do some like boxing. It's interesting to see their character once they get in the ring. It's good. So we do like an analysis when they first sign with us, and then we give them kind of go home and this is what I need you to work on, and just keep having them come into town regularly and see how they progress.
Do any of your drivers live here, or do they all live in Denmark?
None from here. Well, I say from here, none locally. Got a Danish kid, Colorado, California, Louisiana, England.
And they all go home?
All over.
You know, it's interesting. I not oddly enough, I don't suppose is oddly enough is not the word, but you have been approachable as far as I'm concerned ever since you got here, and we're always, when you were available to come in, you would come in and had no problem with it, which I thought was great, and I try and continue that because I think kids that are moving up, in order to have people know who you are, they got to know who you are to start with. Yeah, somebody to look for. So. And you were always kind enough when you had the time or available, you'd come in. And you're always available to talk to if you're not busy, of course. Mm-hmm. You will take the time, and I think that's great. And I think that's, sponsors need to realize what a driver can do for them if they get into the sport and see what the sport's all about and the networking that's available and so forth. It doesn't have to be an automotive company. That has nothing to do with it. Because some of the sponsors need other things than car parts. Yep. So... Are you impressed with what Dan Anderson's doing?
I love the series. I mean, especially, I think it's always, anyone who has an opinion is just relative to their experience, right? So, some people that complain, and for me, they should go experience some of the other experiences I've had. Dan does a good job. I think that Indy Lights needs to just be cheaper. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's why we don't have enough numbers. And also back in the day when I did lights, big purse. Tony George was behind it, so it was something like $3 million, I think, was a total purse, and that was distributed. Every race event. So we go to IMS here for Freedom 100, and if you won the race, you got a $40,000 check. So you knew that was a good day at the office. And even if you finished last, you knew you were going to get 15,000, 16,000, 17,000, somewhere in that range. You were going to get a good payout. So people were able to get a little more creative because it was a little bit cheaper. There was more prize money, so people can make stuff happen. And right now, it's not cheap. It's $1 million plus, and unfortunately, really the only prize is for the champion, and that just makes it tough to get those numbers up.
There isn't prize money for each race?
There is, but it's...
Doesn't buy tires.
Yeah.
I know I just saw Diane put out the release at the banquet. They passed out $2.2 million for all of the teams, all of the drivers and stuff. When you think about it, you say, wow, 2.2 million, that's good. When you get 60 drivers and 60 teams, it ain't that much.
Yeah.
So you can't live on it. I mean, if you win the title, the championship, team championship, you can't take the rest of the winter off.
Not, it hasn't quite worked that way yet.
Well, I am glad to see you in here. I know Jack Miller and Miller Vinatieri Racing has moved from SCCA to the USF 2000. He said they really treat him well. Dan Anderson and all his people are phenomenal. He said he loves the series. Mm-hmm. Why doesn't does Europe have anything similar to this leading up to Formula One?
Not really. There's no real scholarships or anything like that in Europe. The only, I guess if you want to call it a scholarship, is if you get picked up by someone like Red Bull and they're investing in their own program that they have. But there's no series in the world that offers prize money like the Road to Indy, which for me is, the Road to Indy really gives kids with talent and not as much money the opportunity to just keep moving up. These kids can make that next step, winning a championship and moving on. So that's what's special about the Road to Indy. So you start looking about and going, well, you do a championship scholarship for USF, a champion scholarship for Indy Pro 2000, and then to get lights going, you really need like an additional $3 million for prize money to pay out every race. That's a lot of dough. So it's not easy. I guess that's the goal and the dream, but we'll see whether we ever get there.
What's the cost to run for a year for US 2000?
USF 3. It just depends on how much testing you do, but 350K is kind of like a really healthy budget.
How much testing do you get to do? Can you do unlimited testing, or are you restricted?
Yeah, we can do as much as we want prior to the test ban, which, don't quote me on it, but it's right around that beginning of March, right before that spring training test that they do. And then in-season testing, I think it's 8 days if you're a new team and 6 days if you're an existing team.
I'm surprised that some of the IndyCar teams don't get in and start there. There's some of them that have the Indy lights, but and it's amazing when you go out, when you guys are running, there are team owners watching. I mean,
they're watching.
Oh yeah, they're looking for who's next.
Yep.
And the guy that always amazed me is Sam Schmidt. He can't walk, he can't pick up a phone, but he's on the phone.
Yeah.
And he gets drivers from all over the place.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time. So you can be fairly safe that you won't hear from me for another 3 or 4 months, maybe before the start of the season, and I'll start again.
Yeah.
See how things are looking.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Thanks for being here, and good luck with your team. And everything I've heard and seen is you're doing well. Good for you.
Just keep trying.
There you go.
Yep.
Do you have to wear a name tag so when you walk in the house, everybody knows who you are?
Yes.
I see. And your wife says, he's leaving again? Oh, right.
Yeah.
We go to the coffee shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's weird. See ya.
Yeah. How long you
look
gone
so
for?
Happy, babe.
How long you gone for, I hope?
Yeah.
What's it like when you come home and there's Dad? Dad's home.
Yeah.
It used to be,
but
it's
wife
him.
don't actually like it when I get home because my son is like, okay, now Dad's home. We can play and we can do all these fun things that, he's been with Mum for however many days. She's like, oh, I just get dropped like a hotcake, I'm like, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you in 2020, and you'll hear from me again, as you know. And one day you'll say, yeah, I'm here on a Tuesday. I'll win. Good luck to you and your team.
Look forward to it. Yeah, thanks.
Jay Howard of Jay Howard Driving Development. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. My next guest is going to change. I got a call this afternoon about 4 o'clock. Steve Wittich was to come in, and he said his mother's in the hospital, and the only time he can see her is at night. So he will be here as soon as he can get away from his mother. But I heard about this guy. He's a one and only. I mean, what can I say about him? He is co-founder of an organization called Vintage Indy Registry. I knew it had Indy in it somewhere. And he's in town because there's some kind of a gathering of Vintage Racing Association or something, and they have a meeting at the Speedway on Saturday, but he's here tonight, so I'm going to have him put down his pretzel or whatever he's eating and come on up and talk to me. He's been here before. We've talked to him before. Please welcome Mr. Mike Lashmet. Before Mike gets here, I want to remind you that if you ever want to get an idea what it's like to drive in an Indy car or in an Indy car, call Indy Racing Experience or go online to indyracingexperience.com and find a date that can work for you. And then in the promo box, put SJ1 and you get a 50% discount. Or you can call the office at 317-243-7171. Talk to Shonda and set it up with her and tell her the SJ1 thing and get your discount. It's a great ride. People that have had it love it. So if you want to find out what it's like to take a ride, you can do it. Now, if you're looking to buy a vintage Indy car or sprint car or midget, there's a place you can go to buy them, to find them, or to get one restored. And that's, of course, at Grand King Shops. If you're looking for something, you want to find out what they can do for you or how they can help you, give them a call. The number is 317-820-3595. That's 317-820-3595. And while you're there, if you think you'd like to take a tour some shops, they've got a limousine take you for a ride. Take 6 to 8 people. Call the same number, 317-820-3595, and arrange to have them pick you up, take you on a tour of the town, and bring you back from once you started. If it's time for your home or business or car to renew your insurance, do what many of us have done. I'm one of them. Call Mike Pardee at VP Insurance Company. They will take care of you, and you'll find to your surprise that you can get more coverage for less money. Call them, make an appointment, go in and see him. See Mike. The number is 317-248-0070. It's a good place to go. They're located at 5005 West 16th Street. So if you're driving down 16th, heading west, stop by. They'd be glad to talk to you. Let me see, what else? Don't forget, if you are a vintage car fan, you got to subscribe to the Speed Tour magazines put out by SVRA. Just go to svra.com and subscribe to Speed Tour. It's a great magazine. Find out a lot of things. A lot of the cars that you liked before are back running again. So check it out. As I said, my guest is a co-founder of the Vintage Indy Registry. They had a very successful show at Gateway. Had a good number of cars, and they're looking to expand what they're doing. So I thought while he's in town, and for the $100 he slipped under the table, I thought I'd talk to him. Please welcome Mike Lashmet.
Thanks, Don. Great to be back. Love Indianapolis.
Besides a Cadillac that you drove up here, what brings you to town?
Well, I'm up here for the Vintage Motorsport Council's board meeting, which is Saturday at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. We're a member of that umbrella organization, and we're also hosting that event, hosting the board meeting, and we're also hosting everybody with the board and their spouses and whatnot for a series of shop tours and a luncheon on Friday here in Indianapolis.
Shop tours.
Shop tours.
Now, you're telling me the guys that have vintage cars and so forth ain't been to a shop before?
Well, they haven't been to a shop like the shops in Indianapolis. In fact, many of these people on the board have never been to Indianapolis. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a great experience for them.
Now, what cars are in this group? I mean, is it all vintage cars,
well,
sports cars?
The Vintage Motorsports Council was started as an umbrella organization to kind of oversee safety and just overall organization and setup of events for all the different vintage race car organizations that are out there. So, for instance, the Vintage Indy Registry, we're a member. Tony Perella's SVRA is a member. HSR is a member. Pittsburgh Grand Prix, et cetera, et cetera. And there's quite a few members.
Now, in your organization, which is almost strictly Indy cars, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't see anything else there.
Well, we're championship cars, 1911 through, it'll be up through 2020 here in the next, what year? Yeah, 2010 and the 2000. I'm sorry. You have to have a 20-year-old car. Had to think there for a minute.
Yeah,
So
that's tough.
when we say championship cars, it's all Indianapolis championship cars, uprights, pre-war, rear
Yeah,
engine,
yeah.
wing cars, etc.
How many members have you got that are active and show up at your events?
Well, my partner's going to probably want to strangle me, but I have. It's over 200. It's over 200 cars and way over 100 members. We have members, as I've told you here on the show before, with we've got a couple members with over 30 cars. So a lot of cars.
So 2 guys with 60 cars, so there's only 40 among the rest of them.
Well, out at Rick Duman's shop, he's got 2 customers basically, and there's about, 30 plus cars out there owned by 2 of his customers. So
I was by there the other day. He put them up on the wall, and I noticed the walls are starting to cave in a little bit.
well, hopefully not, but yeah, he ran out of floor space out there, so he kind of did what Carl Haas did up at Neiman Haas Racing, and what Andretti's done, and that is he bought the racks and bolted them into the wall, and they use a forklift to put the cars up. He had to get them off the floor. He ran out of space.
Now, you've heard of the Grand King race shops, I would assume.
Where's that at?
That's what I thought, too. But
Yeah, I know Grant King Race Car Shop. It was actually, to date myself age-wise, it was the first IndyCar shop I was ever in my life, about 1970 or 71. As a teenager, I had approached Grant for a job, and he had me over for the weekend, and I worked in his shop, and Doris cooked dinner in the house up on the hill that night, and yeah, I know where that shop's at. A lot of history there.
yes, and I used to go in there because somehow I got to be friends with, I mean, we weren't close, but I could stop in the shop and sit down at his desk, and he'd stop whatever it was he's doing and move the papers out of the way so he could see.
Yeah.
But you go down to the shop, you leave, you had to go home and take a bath. It wasn't like it is today.
No, it wasn't like it is today. They cranked a lot of incredible cars out of that shop, though.
No question.
And a lot of just unbelievable people worked there. Gordon Barrett, Jackie Howard, and I mean, on and on and on and on. I mean, the people that were there the days that I was in there, and I went there frequently when I worked for George Bignotti because Grant made parts for us, and George would send me out there to pick them up. I was in and out of there many times.
Amazing guy. Now, you go in the shop, it's tidy.
Yeah,
You have to take your shoes off.
it's a show place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to see old cars, vintage cars of anything, midgets, sprint cars, champ cars, Indy cars, there's some sitting there that are done, they're being worked on.
This
And
is true.
if you talk real nice, well, I see John got mad and left. You can go to the engine shop, which is just up, and they rebuild engines up there. So
Right.
if you got a car, you're looking for one, you want to get it done, it's a one-stop shopping. They can do everything.
They can do everything there. It's kind of unique in that respect. Billy and Stephanie Throckmorton, Bill being Grant King's nephew, they've done a remarkable job there. It's like my home away from home here in Indianapolis, and I'm really thankful for that. And
They are
if
too.
you haven't been there, you got to go. I don't care where you live. If you're in Indianapolis, call up Grant King shops and try to get out there and see what they have. It's remarkable what they've done. All the memorabilia, the cars, etc.
They're wonderful people.
They are.
And look at Stephanie. She doesn't like when I call her that, but look at her. She's all fluffy. That's why I call her that. She's all fluffy.
Hard-working people.
Yeah, oh yeah. She's up by 10 o'clock every day going full bore.
That is true. And, I got to tell you, they're huge supporters of ours, so, I'm really appreciative of that.
Well, Bill, he doesn't have a lot to do, so he can, you rah-rah, vintage Indy
Stephanie
register.
does all the work, right?
I know that, yeah. That's what she tells me. I don't know if it's
And we
true.
are, on Friday, that's where the shop tours are starting. It's starting at Grant King shops, and then they've arranged for a catered lunch out there there's about 50 people in our group that are going to be here, so.
So what time is this thing going on? Well, I mean, you got to be in an association, so never mind.
For those that are on the list, sorry, but 10 o'clock on Friday morning. So we'll be there from 10 to 1, and we're doing a catered luncheon there, a sit-down luncheon, and have some speakers and, of course, a shop tour and maybe some Q&A with some VIPs. I know Donnie Beechler's going to be there. John Martin will be there. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if John will be.
Donald Davidson, maybe.
I don't think John's going to be there. He's gone. He got huffy and left.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
I see. I know.
Anyway, we're starting there, and then at about 1:30 we'll be out at Rick Duman's Turn 4 in Brownsburg.
I see.
And we'll be out there till 4.
Out there until 4?
Yeah.
3 hours there?
2.5, 3 hours, yeah.
I couldn't handle it. I got to go home and fold my laundry. I can't go for that long a time. Do you own cars yourself?
I have. I don't right now have a vintage Indy car, but
Bill's got some.
I know. I've got, with Billy, we have 3 there for sale right now. But at one time we did. My wife and I owned one of the famous Johnny Lightning cars. It was the 68 Lola 4-wheel drive car that actually became the first Johnny Lightning car and got Al the most points in 1970 for the championship. And the car had an incredible history from 68 through 71, lots of poles, lots of race wins. Al Unser's first ever rear engine car race win at IRP in 68, et cetera. And that car now is in the Bill Smith's museum out at Speedway Motors in Lincoln, Nebraska, Museum of American Speed.
That's too far to go.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
8150.
If you haven't been to Lincoln, Nebraska, you got to go. You got to go to Speedway
goes
Motors
there.
Museum.
Everybody says, where are you going? I'm going to Lincoln.
Yeah, it's cool. I got to tell you, how the Smiths acquired everything they have in that museum in a lifetime, it astonishes me, let alone build a business as he did.
Oh, that's how he got the cars.
Well, that's true, but I mean, phenomenal place.
Yeah. But if you don't have the gas, 8155 Crawfordsville Road, he's got a museum right there.
Nearby and neighborly. Grant King shops if you can't go to Lincoln.
And then when you're done with the tour and you sit down, Stephanie will start telling you jokes. She does a little stand-up. It's pretty good.
It's a great place.
Yeah. What are you discussing? You've got this organization coming together, 50 people. You got a meeting at the museum. What are you discussing?
Well, they'll go into executive session from 9 to 10, and then it'll be open to the public, and, people can come and sit in, and, it'll probably go till about 2 o'clock, and all the different organizations literally will get up and report on what they've done this past year and whatnot. And they have a director of safety, a neurosurgeon from down in Texas, and he'll speak, and, it's a pretty interesting program.
That's reassuring. Yep. Who's your executive director? He's a surgeon. Really?
Well, he's the safety director. So.
Safety director. Yeah. Why? Because he puts you together.
Because why?
He puts you back together.
Well, he probably has put a few people back together.
How many vintage IndyCar, particularly associations clubs are there?
Well, there's really, I guess, if I counted the Harry Miller deal that does the event up at Milwaukee every year, and then, of course, Gary Monshine, Classic Racing Times out east, and us, there's 3. So.
And between all of you, how many cars can you get in an event? Can you get 30, 40 cars to an event?
I think that up at the Millers at the mile this year at Milwaukee, they cut it off at 60 cars. We had 28 at Gateway. Gary counts all kinds of cars in his events. I don't know how many actual Indy cars he had because he's got sprint cars and East Coast modifieds and, restored stock cars and stuff like that.
Well,
But I'm told at our event at Gateway, we had the largest number of vintage Indy cars outside of the historic racing exhibition here at the Speedway. That's what I'm told.
So now,
we had 28 cars down there, which that's a pretty nice field of vintage cars to have in one place.
Yeah, and it's not so many that you can't go out and run. You're not all bunched up because there's so many.
I could have had more, but Chris Blair cut me off. He said, "I think you have enough." I go, "Okay." So anyway,
so
we could have gone over 30 some cars, I'm sure.
So what have you got on schedule for next year?
Well, we're not ready to announce our schedule. We have been invited back to Gateway for the Bommarito 500 for the 3rd year. That's for certain. And I can't say anything yet, but we're working on 3 other venues and maybe see us at a road course for the first time. An iconic road course plus another oval and whatnot.
Well, you, of course, after you call and cheer and yell and scream with the Throckmortons, you will call me and tell me what you're doing so I can
Well, we took care of you down at Gateway, didn't we? Yeah, I'll let you know. We'll let you know first.
You know, the sad part of that Gateway was what happened to poor Al.
Yeah, that's.
Oh boy.
You know, we had some really. We had some IndyCar drivers down there. We had John Martin, of course, who's a big supporter, and we had Al Unser Jr. and Ari Lyondike, Donnie Beechler, and Robbie McGee. And we've had Beechler and John in cars before, John Martin at Milwaukee and St. Louis, but we had Robbie McGee in an owner's car down there. He was in the, I think he drove the 87 March of Pat Bennett's, the STP True Value March. And then little Al was in Chuck Jones's absolutely stunning Dan Gurney Eagle, the Genesee Beer Wagon car, Galen Fox's car. And he was out there giving it a good run, and going into one, he lost the motor, yeah. They actually they've discovered now they blew out the front seal. We know why. And Al did a great job of getting it off the track, and, you know, called me on his cell phone. He said, "I'm sitting down here inside of turn 1, Mike." So, yeah, but he did a great job, and we hope that he participates with us again.
Yeah,
he did the autograph session as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he made a mess of the track.
Yeah, he upset Colton Herta. Which, you know, that was on NBC, which was not, I don't know.
Well,
It happened. Stuff happens.
That's right, it does.
It's racing. You know, that could have happened to a Silver Crown car, Indy car, one of the NASCAR guys they had down there. It just happened to be us. So I do apologize, and, you know, that's racing.
That is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's not, but, you know, not strange thing, I don't suppose. With the horsepower these cars have and the torque they turn today, that more of them don't explode is amazing.
I mean, you know, going back to the early 70s when I was in IndyCar racing, I mean, we lost motors constantly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you had a lot of all-nighters at the racetrack, and that was kind of miserable. But today, the job that Honda and Chevrolet's done with these motors is just, to me, it's amazing. Simply amazing.
Well, the thing that I was mentioning earlier, you were here when I said at the Speedway, when the guys would get done, the drivers would obviously usually the first ones to leave, and they're down at the White Way.
Yeah, they were gone.
And then the crews finish up, and the crew was down at the White Way.
Yeah,
There was some.
Maybe we
white
got
front. I'm sorry, white front.
white front. Maybe we got fit, or the beverage inn.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, I'm pleased that you came to town today. I know you didn't come to do this. You came to, you know, hang around with Stephanie and, you know, just kind of be escorted around. And
yeah, you and I were texting as I was coming up 65, and
yeah,
we had talked yesterday. And are you coming to the show? I said, yeah, I'll be at the show. And this afternoon you said, good, maybe I could use you. So yeah, I'm glad I could help out.
No, well, that's fine. I mean, I would have probably talked to you anyway, but Steve had to back out. But he said, I'll do it. As soon as my mom is, you know, he gets straightened out of the hospital, I'll be here. And I want to hear, he covers primarily the the Road to Indy program, but he also does IndyCar when Patrick can't make it. So he's well versed on what's going on, and the guys' teams will all talk to him, drivers. So get some scoop. We'll get it from him in another week or two. Next week, my first confirmed guest, as of yesterday actually, will be the owner of a race team, Juncos Racing. Ricardo Juncos will be here. And I have a pretty good-sized guy that says he thinks he can make it. I haven't heard back from him yet, but as soon as I do, I'll let you know. He's a heavy hitter.
I have a fun Ricardo Juncos story if you'd like to hear it real quick.
Oh, sure, why not?
So I'm at home this spring before I came up to Indy in May, and I watched the Juncos team suffer through their issues. So I got a hold of our sponsor, Haggerty Insurance, and I said, would you guys like to be on an Indy car? I think there might be an opportunity here. They need a sponsor. They need some sponsors. And so Haggerty said, yeah, we're really interested. So I hooked Ricardo and Haggerty up, and Haggerty ended up on their car for the 500. And it worked out really well, and they took really good care of Haggerty. So I want to thank Haggerty, and Ricardo Juncos is really a great stand-up guy, and he took care of all the sponsors people very, very well.
Oh, yeah, when he opened his race shop, and I've told this before, I walked in there I called him. I said, this is nice. I said, but there's something wrong here. You've only been here 10 years. You got this. I've lived here 79 years. I couldn't buy that door.
Yeah, it's a remarkable story, and that
Yeah,
place
he
is
is.
really, he's got a beautiful shop.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Top shelf. And he only raced, what, 4 series? Poor guy.
Yeah, busy. They keep busy.
Yeah, you're not kidding. All right, Mike, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Don.
it.
Pleasure.
And, let us know where you're going to be next year so we can let people know when you're there. Go look for them.
I will, and I just want to thank everybody. There's a lot of supporters here in the audience, and want to thank everybody that comes out and goes online. And when we were down at Gateway, I did some live streaming on Facebook down there, and we had 46,000 hits per live stream on average. That's a lot, a lot.
Well, we're
So I
big.
really appreciate everybody that supports us.
We're big with that here. We get 150.
Good.
151, you watch. I forgot to add you. Thanks for being here. Thanks,
you.
everybody. Remember, next week, Ricardo Juncos will be here, and there's another. I hope he can make it, and it'll be a good program. Till next week, Don Kay saying thanks for watching, listening. Good night.